It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Nichole Shiffler, who received her Doctorate of Naturopathic Medicine in 2013 from Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine. She also received a BA in Biology with a minor in Chemistry from Northern Arizona University. She completed 2 years of residency at Southwest Naturopathic Medical Center, the last year of which she was chief resident. Her focus is general family medicine. She is comfortable with all types of naturopathic modalities and wants to be proficient and effective serving the community. Her strengths are women's health, botanical medicine, nutrition, endocrinology, hydrotherapy, and general family medicine with a treatment emphasis on herbs and other natural solutions to health problems. She enjoys Arizona and would like to be well-established within the Valley. Let's give a nice, warm welcome to Dr. Shiffler.
Cool. All right. So thank you all for attending. I'm just going to go over some residency stuff because we are now starting that process. We've had some shift in timeline, probably still new to you anyway, so it won't matter, but I'll go over that. How many people are interested in residency? Great, all of you, fantastic. Good, that's what I like to see. Okay, so let's explore our residency. So this is just, we'll start off with just some general information. Okay, I gotta walk over here. All right, so what do you guys think might be the purpose of residency? Any thoughts? Why some of you that raise your hands, why might you be interested?
To transition from a didactic clinical base to before you go out all by yourself, to kind of have like a little extra support as you go out to become an naturopath.
I'm hearing some mentorship, extra practice, guidance. Any other thoughts as to why you might want to pursue a residency?
Exposure to different patients, the number of patients that you're going to see.
Absolutely.
Experience.
Lots. Yep. If you go out on your own, you may not see the amount of patients you might actually see in an established practice already. Yep. So lots of exposure to different pathology, presentation, exactly. So that's pretty much the purpose. It's really just to kind of make you a better physician by giving you more experience and more mentorship. That's kind of what our goal is. So residencies are usually a year long, but they can go anywhere from 2 to 3 year programs. We have a lot of new board certifications coming up in our profession. Board certified in pediatrics, board certified in oncology, of course, is already been around. There is endocrinology, they're looking at pain management. All the A and P groups are kind of starting to create board certifications, and those often come with a 2-year residency limit or 5 years of practice. So that would kind of expedite, if you wanted to focus on something, expedite that process for you. Okay. So all of the residencies that I'm discussing are all CNME approved, so that is our overseeing body. So they oversee your education, they'll oversee postgraduate education as well. So any residency that I'm discussing is a CNME approved residency. So there are some that are saying that they completed a residency, but they did not really. So that comes with strict guidelines that have to be followed throughout their year. So that could be either a naturopathic college or a private clinic that is affiliated with a college. Okay, so who qualifies? Someone who graduated, so step 1, passed Inflex 2, and can obtain a license in that state. That's kind of important. Arizona, we're good here, so good job getting your license here. Some issues coming in from out of the state. Okay, are they required to practice? So is a residency required to practice? No, but in the state of Utah, yes. So in the state of Utah, they have a law, well, in their laws of the board, you have to have a residency in order to practice there. Again, I think there's some limit of time, like either practicing 5 years or if you've had a residency. So if you want to go back and practice in Utah, you have to complete your residency or be out much longer. Okay, what should I consider? We kind of already discussed this, but extra exposure, more pathology. So the more you see pathology, I mean, those of you in the clinic now can probably attest to this, the more pathology you see, the more confidence you have in treating that condition in the future. receiving additional training, working with providers that we might not have been able to previously, maybe shadowing in an emergency department, because that physician might have a connection there, or other professions. So, wide breadth of education. Okay, so where are the residencies? So best year overseas sites in these states. I've got Arizona and one in California, and then NUNM's got some locations up in Canada as well. And then the Canadian schools also have residency sites, but we don't really discuss them just because they're not seemingly approved. Yeah,
Dr. Shiffler, all of those are for October, right? Not for April, just.
it depends. Some are having April, a lot of mine have April starts because they're aware that you guys graduate in December.
Okay.
But the majority have an October start. So I could derail and chat about that real quick. So we have at SCNM, we have two graduation dates, December and June. So my sites are now opening up positions for April. Like I have some April residency starts. Other affiliate sites of mine will as well. But the general start date for everybody else is usually October. And of course, the ANMC residency portal will have an updated list. Okay, so salary. As a resident, you don't make a whole ton because the thought process is that it's, you're being educated. So you're there for learning. So the standard is about $34,000, which is the minimum. But each site can offer different benefits, health benefits, money towards CE, money towards malpractice, et cetera. So you'll want to ask each site that you're applying for what the benefits might be. And then of course you can defer your student loans during the time of residency. Okay, the application process. Any questions so far? All right, great. Okay, so we now have, well, we did last year, but this is still new to me, an AANMC residency application portal. So now you can go on, get a login, see all the open sites, put all your documents in there, have your evaluators send evaluations, request transcripts. It's all super nice. So that's what you'll do. You'll start by logging into this portal, getting a sign in. And that's kind of how you do that. So there's the website. Of course, I can give you access to the PowerPoint. That's pretty much what you'll do. And then you can go from there. And then you'll see, each time you log in, there's going to be new application sites kind of streaming by, or just sites that you'll see. Everything's done there. Okay, cost to apply. So we have a new fee structure this year. It's $47 per site that you apply to. You can apply to as many as you'd like, or just the one, but it's going to be $47 per site. And then there's a match process that'll have an additional fee. And then if you're interviewing, you need to account for travel cost, etc. Here's our timeline. So this year we shifted our timeline back, which is nice because it aligns with the Canadian, I don't know if anyone is in Canada. You don't want to go home to Canada? Well, now you have a job. So our timeline is now aligned with the Canadian timeline, so it's kind of nice. So we are outrolling it in phases. So phase 1, which opened November 15th, is just for you to go on and see what sites might be available. That won't be confirmed until February 10th here. So that's when it technically really opens. But you can log in now, do all the things that you want to do up until it being really open. So looking at sites that are available, more and more will come each week. And then in February, you'll start the application process. Up until then, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, there's the timeline. Okay.
Dr. Shiffler?
Yes.
The match day, if you're trying to do April, the match day is in May.
Match day is now May 15th.
So how would that work if we were trying to start here?
Those sites will be hired earlier, so they won't go to the match.
Okay.
The position will be offered before that, just so that they can have an April 1st start date. Yeah.
So can you talk about the timeline difference for spring, for the April start versus the October start? Like how would that look different?
We're starting the application same timeline. It'll just be expedited. So by the time your deadline of March 6th, we're just going to have interviews pretty promptly for those individuals.
Okay, so you're still, application still open November 15th for the spring start, and you still have to have the same, regardless if it's spring or fall.
So yeah, and it's done that way because we're the only school that has the 2 graduation dates, and it's nice to catch all of those applicants at the same time because everybody's on the same timeline, and then If you aren't offered a position in April, then you can be considered for October.
So you can apply for both the spring and fall, or would you just apply for the spring, and if you don't get caught on the spring, then you'll automatically, if they want to offer you one?
Here we've asked applicants, if you're not considered for April, would you like to be considered for October?
Okay.
And then you would go into the match process, but of course, that'll be discussed later.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, if you have any questions on any of the sites, here are the contacts. So Bastyr, myself, and you, oh, sorry, it should be NUNM, NCCNM. And then the match process. So you will submit your application, all of those documents, then you'll be called for an interview. You'll go and interview, and once you've finished interviewing, you'll log into the match portal and tell me, well, tell the portal, who you want to match with. So you can only match with those that you've interviewed, and you will rank the sites that you would like to match at. There is a how-to guide. Everything, there's way more documentation. Everything's on the agency portal. So if questions come up, feel free to contact me, or you can access the portal resources. Something to note is that after the match date, if you then decline the position, you cannot apply for another residency until two years essentially, a whole other application process. And so it's kind of a punishment to stop those from taking the place of an applicant who really wanted that position. So just letting you know that now. All right. How are decisions made? Any questions? How do you guys think the decisions might be made? What do you think would be important to a residency selection committee? Yeah.
Could you, before we answer that question,
Of
talk about the
course.
match process?
I can talk about the match process? Yes.
Or maybe that's the same thing of what you're asking, right?
Well, do you have any specific questions?
I've kind of watched YouTube videos about MDs or DOs graduating, and they're talking about their residency applications, and they recommend going to visit the doctors that they want to be in residency with and make sure that your personalities are going to match as well. And there's a lot that goes into that, more than just GPA, interests, and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely correct. If there's a private clinic that you're interested in applying to, I highly recommend that you reach out and make some connections so that you know that it's a good fit and that physician knows that as well. Especially if you're moving out of, would have to then move out of state, you want to make sure that that's going to be a good fit. Because if you decline that position after you accept post-match, you are, you can't reapply for 2 more years, so. Yeah.
So let's say you apply and you rank one place your 5th option, and then they rank you 5th option, that's where you'll go?
No.
So how does it work?
You would rank your number 1,
Uh-huh.
and then if the site ranks you as number 1, then you'd match.
Well, so that's what I'm saying, but what if you rank a place number 5, or you rank a place
Yeah,
number
you
1?
can't, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, so number 1 will be your first pick, 5 would be your,
But
least likely.
But what happens if you rank a place number 1, but you're their number 3?
Then you won't match, most likely.
So,
But it's
then-
possible
then
you
where-
can.
Would you not match anywhere, or is it only like if you picked a place number 2 and they picked you as number 2, like does it have to be they pick you the same number that you pick them?
So it depends on the situation. So
Okay.
you will put your match in. So if you've interviewed at 3 sites and you want to actually get hired at all 3 sites, you will rank all 3 sites. So if your number 1 puts you as number 2 and your number 2 puts you as number 1, you'll go to your number 2 spot. So it's to make the site and you match your most likely place that you would want to match at. Again, there's documentation, there's a flow chart and all of that.
Could you say that again? So if they rank you number 1 and you rank them number 2, and your first one doesn't rank you at all.
You'll ask me, say it again?
So let's say they ranked you as their number 1, and you didn't get your number 1 slot, but you
Mhm.
ranked them number 2, would you still get them?
Potentially, yes. If you put them as your number 2.
Right.
So, but you can go on the match and only rank 1 spot.
Okay.
That's really possible too. So you'll only rank the places that you want to get hired at, even if you've interviewed at several. Again, there's a flow chart, PDF document that outlines all of that. If you have questions, let me know. All right, where are we at? Okay, decisions being made. All right, so everyone's all nervous about their GPA, so I always try to just calm you down and say it's only a part of the selection criteria. Here in our residency committee, and I think the other schools as well, we have, of course, outline with points that we award to applicants, and the GPA is only a portion of that, but of course have good grades. We also look at research experience or teaching experience, any leadership or what clinical experience you've had. For the general medicine residency, I want to see that you have a wide experience of general medicine. So that would be something we look at as well. And then of course we look at your recommendations. So you'll get 3 evaluations. We'll look at those. And that's where we go from there. All right. Okay, student loans. If you have any questions on student loan stuff, Anna Borjas is the one to contact. I don't know anything about that except that you can defer during residency time if you would like. But contact her. Okay, so what can you do now? Improve on your leadership skills. Anyway, so what you can do is teaching. Teaching would be good. So if you're applying to a school-based residency, you will be teaching students. That's what your residents do now. Who's in clinic and has residents? Do your residents teach you? Okay, thank God. Okay, so that would be something that we would look at because that's going to be a part of your job. Research experience. We want to see that you want to improve the profession, you want to improve your clinical thinking. So all of that is kind of considered. So that would be things that you could do now. And if you have a 4 GPA, I would start working on that. More of that. Application process. If you need essays to be reviewed, please contact Joanna Hagan. She would be great at discussing, any application type questions you have. I don't know if you want to speak to that at all, but go. She's a great contact. If you have any other questions, I am here for you. And that is pretty much all I got. The questions you have, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about spring. How many are you guys going to be
Let's talk about
taking?
spring.
Are you going to be taking Gen Med and NRC?
We have 1 Gen Med and 1 NRC.
So you're going to be taking 2.
And I've got some affiliate sites that we'll have in April start as well.
And then, one more question. If we don't match in April, will we have to go ahead and go through the interview process again? Or will the original interview process stand for that?
It depends on what the situation is,
Okay.
so I can't answer that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Do you know which is online affiliate site for?
Yep, everything will be on the AAMC portal. I'm not sure who was next. I think it was Lily.
It's okay.
She basically,
We're good.
great.
Sorry. What's a good average GPA that you guys look for?
So it is a scoring process and we count, anything below a 3.0 to have kind of a negative count towards it. Yes.
Will all the Canadian residencies be on the site?
Yep, they will. Yeah, so Jasmine Carino would be your contact for that.
Do you know about any graduates that have gone to an unlicensed state and done a residency under an MD?
I don't know because that wouldn't be, so there's some affiliate sites through Bastyr and NUNM that have an MD as their contact. The CNME guidelines don't really allow just an MD. There has to be some naturopathic guidance there. And I think only NUNM has a site that's in an unlicensed state because it's really challenging. Because really in the guidelines you have to have malpractice. So that would be where that would be allowed is if you were under someone else's malpractice. I've also had a site that was really kind of in Connecticut or in New York, but they worked out of Connecticut. So something kind of 50-50 unlicensed. So anyway, that's not very common. Yeah.
If we were to take private patients as resident, is there a non-compete or how, if we were,
if you're a
once we
resident?
graduate?
Well, it totally
do we
depends
take
on
the-
where you're at in the country.
For example, if we're here and I take a private patient and then once my residency is done, I move forward.
Yeah, for here, your contract does not have a non-compete.
Okay.
And in Arizona, I think they're pretty hard to hold up. But I think most contracts contain a non-compete. Usually it's 5 miles. You can't practice within 5 miles or something like that.
So we're kind of piggybacking off that question. So if you're a resident here and you're trying to slowly build a practice on the side, can you do that?
It would be challenging to have another job outside of here.
But I'm saying legally, would it be if you're trying to?
Yeah, there's nothing in your contract that would not allow you or dissuade you from doing so. You just wouldn't have the time in the week to do that.
Some residencies only have one position open. Would you weigh the GPA as more competitive versus the research and the experience? What is the highest?
That depends on the site, because here we have a whole committee that will review that, so it's not just one person's decision. And we're scoring you on all of your applications. So the essays get a score, your GPA gets a score, all of that gets included.
Okay, so like 10 people applying for one position, everyone has a score, and then
Mhm.
the highest score gets that position.
Yeah, we usually do, here we do 50% or higher get an interview.
Can you go over the positions offered here?
At the school.
The residencies, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got 5 general medicine first year. So in April, there will be 1 general medicine position available, 1 NRC position available, and then in October, there will be 5 general medicine and 2 NRC positions available.
What is NRC?
The Nichole Shiffler Center,
Oh, okay.
so it's on-site care. And again, all of that will be on the A&C site. Anything else? Yeah.
So on the website, it shows like previous residencies. Is it
Mhm.
okay to reach out to those people or just to see? Because I think there's only 2 residencies posted right now. So would
Yeah,
it
so
be
what,
okay
what all
to
the
reach out?
directors are doing right now is reaching out to our affiliates and saying, hey, do you
Okay.
want to do another year? And so
Okay.
that's what we're doing up until February, is getting that information back. I would reach out to the director who oversees that affiliate site, and, because I kind of know who will most likely have a position. So I would ask them first, and then you can reach out. Some sites will take a resident every 2 years,
Okay.
so then they won't be in circulation that
Mhm.
following year.
So we should keep our eyes peeled up until we take boards, basically.
Yeah, up until, well, in February.
Because it's like
Yep,
right
exactly.
after boards and the
Mhm.
residency deadline.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we'll have everything up before then.
Wait, the portal actually opens officially the 10th, and then it closes.
Well, the portal's already open.
I know it's already open, but like officially is what you were saying on the timeline that you show up here. It was actually open the 10th, and then it closes the 28th.
So it'll, let me go back to
Or
that
our
sheet, I'll show you.
residency applications due the 10th.
Your applications are due in March. Here, so the portal is open now, but by February 10th, all of our sites will be confirmed at what sites are
Oh, I see.
available for that following year.
Okay.
And then March, application is March 6th is the deadline.
Is the deadline. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the following year, not just fall, that's also spring of the following year.
This will happen for April of 2020 and October of 2020 for the residency cycle of 2020, 2021.
So that's what I'm saying, like February 2020, you'll be confirming April and October sites for 2021.
For 2020.
Okay.
So with residency, what are the hours per week? Because I know there's like meetings and then you have your own shifts and then there's private shifts.
You can work anywhere from 40 to 60 hours is what is allowed for this meeting. I can give you a more specific breakdown here if you'd like. Yeah.
Do you have more minutes?
On what?
I don't know.
Oh,
All those just like.
like I got handouts. What else? Is anyone not wanting to do a residency or was on the fence and I can persuade you further? Oh, you?
Oh, yeah.
Who are you? Come on.
I was on the fence a little bit.
Yeah, any reason why?
Well, I don't know that you all have a residency that I'm interested in.
Okay.
If I wanted to focus on infectious diseases, I don't know if general medicine would focus on that.
So I'm actually on a call this week with the CNME on Thursday, but currently the guidelines state that we only oversee general naturopathic residents, like general medicine. But with all of the AANP boards coming up, that's starting to change, so that might allow, when do you graduate?
Oh, I'm Q1.
Okay, great, perfect. So by the time you get to graduation, we might have more opportunities, especially if you wanted to, do something in infectious disease. Because I think the CNME might change that to allow for specialty residencies. So for the Nichole Shiffler Center, it is a focus in regenerative medicine, but they also do general medicine rotations. Good, I got some time money.
Do you know if there'll be any fab nose open?
Yeah, there will be. There will be, yeah. Yeah, yeah, there will.
Is Goshen still available?
I'm not sure if they're going to be available this week.
Wow.
Do you know if Alberta or Saskatchewan ever have any residencies?
Don't know.
You don't know.
Because they're, yeah. So that's not overseen by the CNME, but you could talk to Jasmine, would be the one to oversees that. Yeah.
Are there any residencies that have more of a focus in women's health? I was like watching a PowerPoint that you did in the past, and there were a couple, like I think at the Longevity Center with Dr. Major, but I don't think she still goes to residency there. So just wondering.
She had qualified for the stair residency, so she's not, I don't know if she's doing a residency this year. But like Tori Hudson has she has a position at her clinic and then within Glen. So there is.
Are there any locally?
Usually they're just general medicine, but yeah. I mean, sort of. You would get that experience, yes. Any other questions?
With shifts, like specifically for like the gen med or the pain residency, do you get to like say like these are the areas I'm interested in and like prioritize shifts, or you just
When you're a resident?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I usually let for the Neil Reardon Center is predominantly NRC, but the general medicine residents usually get to pick the majority of their rotations.
What if you're interested in doing a residency where you may not have like a naturopathic doctor there? If it's at an integrated medical clinic, say they have like a nutritionist, an MD, and maybe doctors of other specialties, is there a way that you can still do that? Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. So the guidelines, the paragraph that's in the guidelines just states something like there has to be a naturopathic mentorship.
Okay.
So that could be, any other naturopath that you can maybe meet with to discuss cases, like that could be something that can be arranged.
Awesome.
You mentioned a stair residency, what is that?
It's funded through ITI for a specific residency site. They just give out funding to fund a resident for a year, and that kind of is the application process. Good? All right. Well, if you have any other questions, feel free to contact myself or Joanna. We can definitely, but you can log in to the AMC portal right now.